Oh, wait, what's that? What is that? I know you say that a lot. What's that? Where does that come from? Giddy up. I know. Where does that come from?
All right, the story behind Giddy Up. So,
Hey, what's going on, explorers? My name is Tori Walker, and welcome to the first episode of Exploring the Blue and Gold podcast. I will be your host, Tori Walker. I'm a recent graduate of LaSalle University, and today we're bringing something new to Explorer fans, a chance for you guys to get to know LaSalle's finest. We'll be talking to athletes, coaches, etc., to give you guys a chance to know the people that are great at what they do in the sport. So today's episode is brought to you by NovaCare Rehabilitation Preferred Provider of Physical Therapy and Athletic Training Services. Don't let aches, pains, or injury leave you sidelined. Make a play and call NovaCare Rehabilitation to get back to what you love. Go to novacare.com to find a center near you. Experience the power of physical therapy with NovaCare. With that being said, we have our first guest. I want to give him a little warm welcome real quick. I just want to clap real quick, you know what I mean? LaSalle's Vice President of Athletics and Recreation, Director of Athletics, Ashwin Puri. Thanks for being on our episode, Ash.
thanks, Tori. Appreciate it, man.
Now, did I get the name right? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Did I get the name right?
It's Osh. That's all right.
Ash.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to
Josh
learn that
without
for
the J.
sure.
You could write OSH.
Got you. For sure. So, I know you're a busy guy. You know what I mean? I think you're maybe a few weeks in so far. So, how has LaSalle been treating you? How has the whole process of like onboarding going so far for you? How has, being on campus so far for you been going so far?
I know it's cliche, but the people make the place, right? And what I've found is I work with a bunch of awesome teammates, coaches, staff. Our student athletes are awesome young adults. Our stakeholder base, our donors, our alumni have been amazing, and everybody's really welcomed me with open arms, which is exciting. So it's always nice to come to a place and feel welcome, feel at home. It has been 8 weeks now, so my commute is my commute. My my office is my office. Like, I'm moved in, so all of the early sort of transition is done. I this is my home, and it's awesome. It's been really great.
Definitely, for sure. Real quick, I want to get into like a quick. What's like right now so far? What's a day in the life for you so far? What's the first thing you do in the morning? What's the last thing when you get out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, my family is one of the most important things, or the most important thing to me, right? So I start the day with spending time with my son and my wife before obviously making my trek down from the main line to LaSalle.
For
Um,
sure.
at the office, it's been interesting. No day has been the same, whether it's, going to an event, spending time with student athletes, coaches, staff, meetings, a lot of facility enhancement planning, right? We've got a big announcement and some big developments coming up. So
For sure.
it's been exciting, man. It's been exciting. It's just, a lot of long days, but they go by really fast in the sense that I'm just constantly meeting new people. I'm getting introduced to a different subset of LaSallians. And really, it's been about building strong relationships, building strong, lasting relationships.
Definitely. I love that. So, first off, as far as, myself, I know me and you, this is our first time meeting and all that. And it's also a lot of fans that's watching this, their first time meeting you as well. So, what's one thing, what's one thing about you that you would like people to know? I know that you talked about your family a lot in the first half. So what's one thing, you want people to know about you so far? What's one thing?
Well, I think this Philadelphia region is home for me, right? I grew up in New Jersey, a little bit of about an hour away from here, in central western Jersey,
For
and
sure.
when we'd moved out to the Bay Area in our 30s, had our kid out there, my wife and I, and we intentionally came back east. We sought out to move back into this region, to be near our family, to raise our kid in a wonderful community, in the Philly area, in the Jersey area. And, like I said, so this is home for me. So, I intend to be in this market for the next decade. I want my kid my son to have a similar experience that I had growing up. Have the same group of friends, have the luxury of one school district, those types of things. So I think that gave me a great foundation to build off of as I got older and into my career. And I want to provide my son the same thing. So, and then I love being out here. I love being at LaSalle. I think we're in a really interesting time at LaSalle University, right? We've got to continue to build everything across the board, right? And so we get to be really entrepreneurial at this point in time in our history. So it's exciting. Like all that adds up to be really exciting me, right? I'm in the place I want to be for a very long time. I'm at a place that I can use my entrepreneurial skill sets to help write the next chapter, and all that adds up to just a great time for me personally and professionally, and then also it's exciting to be here on campus.
For sure, I love that for sure. Because I know you're from Jersey, and I'm from Jersey as well. I'm from South Jersey, so two Jersey natives in the house tonight for sure.
Yeah,
I love that for real. You know what I mean? Central Jersey definitely exists if nobody knows. You know what I mean? Because I know it's a little topic right now.
It's complicated even more by saying Central West Jersey. So I'm creating.
Oh, dang, yeah. I did not heard it. I never heard it. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? I never heard of that. So how did you first get your? I know that you previously was at Villanova, back in 2019, whatever. But I want to go back, back to the when you was kind of a little bit young, like you was first starting out. How did you get how did the journey happen into like athletics, becoming an athletic director? Talk about that a little bit. How did that whole journey unfold for you?
Yeah. So when I was a high schooler, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, our high school athletic director was a guy named Bob Rossi. He's since retired from the high school I went to. And as an athlete, I was a student athlete in high school. Wasn't good enough to play at the college level, so my career ended there. But
for sure,
I would spend time, in our athletics facilities, in and around, being a part of teams and stuff. And I'd see Bob Rossi. I'd see him be around. I'd see him, setting things up, making sure our schedules were done. I'd see him on campus, running around, getting a workout in on campus. And I thought to myself, man, like that guy's got the greatest job in the world, right? He gets to be around sports all day, every day. So the more I thought about that, I realized, at least in my early years, I wanted to be a high school athletic director. That was my dream job. It evolved over time, right? But I knew for sure I wanted to get in the athletics industry. So I found an opportunity to go to another A10 school, the University of Massachusetts Amherst, and major in sports management. It's a fairly prestigious, alumni group and university major at that school. So that was great. I got a good foundation there. My thoughts evolved over time, though, right? I knew I still wanted to be an athletic director. I sort of went back and forth between high school and college. I also had the dream of being a president of a pro sports team too, right? So taking on a leadership role. And I wasn't sure, which direction I would go in. I applied for a lot of jobs coming out of school. In between my junior and senior year, I landed an internship with a minor league baseball team called the Somerset Patriots, which was great.
Oh, wow.
I think I interned my junior and senior year summers, so 2 years, and I thought that was one of the best experiences I've ever received, because it was not only incredibly humbling. I was out there power washing garbage cans and cleaning restrooms at times, if that needed to be done. I was also learning how to sell and market the program, right? So
yeah,
like the skill set was really vast, and minor league baseball in particular offers you that skill set. So that was wonderful, because I sort of touched all aspects of the business. And it was incredibly humbling. And when I got my first opportunity to sell tickets for the New Jersey Nets, I looked back on that time and said, man, I love sitting behind a desk all day, because being out in the heat and, like I said, doing manual labor sometimes is rough, right? So
for sure,
so anyway,
definitely.
I started my career in pro sports. I worked in pro sports for almost a decade, until I got my first opportunity in college at the University of California. I was hired to lead their revenue generation efforts and ticket sales and service efforts. They were moving into a renovated football stadium at the time. So I was hired to professionalize their sales and marketing efforts, right? Which was great. So I had a great 6 years out there. That's where I fell in love with college athletics. I think the first couple of years were really business focused, right? I was focused on the business
Yeah.
side of college athletics. However, the second I transitioned to become a sports administrator, I got to know student athletes more. I spent time with coaches and staff. I really fell in love with this business. College athletics is such an awesome place, right? We are changing lives and transforming
Sure.
lives and giving kids an opportunity that may have not had an opportunity if not for athletics to change their life entirely. So I love it. I've been I took a 2-year hiatus and worked in pro baseball in the MLB level for the Oakland Days. And then my wife and I, like I said, we were in the Bay Area, really wanting to come back to the East Coast, and I really wanted to get back into college athletics. And so my prior institution, Villanova University, offered me a chance to come back. I spent 4 years there, and now I'm here leading the athletic department 2 months in. So it's been
Sure.
quite a journey. Sorry for the long-winded
No,
answer.
all good, all good.
I am thrilled to be given an opportunity to lead at this level. I think LaSalle is a special place, and like I said, I'm excited to be here in this job, and I'm excited to help this place, turn a new leaf and corner.
For sure, I love that. Throughout that journey, I know you talked about, that sometimes the journey is not all peaches and cream. You know what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't turn out the way you want it to. Sometimes you got to pivot and like move another direction, maybe. Sometimes you got to, kind of, not give up as well. If you're really passionate about something, you kind of got to still keep going for it. So throughout that journey, I know you talked about, washing trash cans or anything like that. So when throughout your journey, was there any hurdles you kind of had to like overcome, and like how did you overcome those hurdles in order to get where you are today, which is like you're a successful athletic director for different college teams. So throughout that process, where was the hurdles that you had to kind of overcome to get where you are today? You know what I mean?
A great question. Look, there's hurdles at every stop along the way. There are times that and it's not unique to my journey, right? Every journey has hurdles, like you
For
said.
sure.
But I think there's times that we could all opt out of what we're doing, right? We could.
Definitely.
Things got tough. We have a challenging supervisor. We have a difficult situation. We have missed a goal, whatever you name it, and there's times that on the line where you think you're defeated, you're beaten up a little bit, you're just not feeling the organization, and you can opt out. And thankfully, looking back, that was the easy way to deal with what was happening, right? And I chose to power through, and I'm thankful for that, right? I learned that resiliency over time at my various stops and organizations. I also learned it from my parents and my family, and it's like I don't want to list specifics necessarily,
For sure.
but
Definitely.
there's always hurdles and challenges, and I think how people respond to those hurdles and challenges is what
Yeah.
ultimately defines you. Again, another cliche, but it's the truth, right? So, I didn't quit, I didn't opt out, I didn't leave the organization. You power through, you find solutions, you build relationships, and ultimately, like that leads to positive outcomes, right? You got to have faith. You got to have faith in the process, have faith in yourself, and faith. I refer to faith as like really believing in positive outcomes. I think that's important.
Definitely. I love that because I feel like, with me especially, I don't want to bring myself into it, but I'm a recent graduate, you know what I mean? Trying to find jobs, trying to find, different connections with people. It can be a little discouraging, you know what I mean? Especially, as a young graduate, comparing yourself to a lot of people. That's our generation for our generation, you know what I mean? Just you compare yourself a lot on social media, wherever else, you know what I mean? So I feel like, people getting to know your story, and how you overcame, those basic hurdles, you know what I mean? That goes a long way, you know what I mean? Because, a lot of people, they feel like giving up, sometimes you just can't give up at all. You got to go your plan A. But I love that from you, man. And, so let's get to LaSalle real quick. You know what I mean? Why LaSalle? I know there's probably like a few other places you was probably looking at, at the time, you know what I mean? Why LaSalle? Why did LaSalle kind of pique your interest a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's for several reasons, right? Yes, I've been fortunate that I've had opportunities at some other institutions, right? The key for me was geography. Like we want to be in this Philadelphia region. This is our home. This is where we're going to raise our son. So I think that was super, super important as I'm evaluating any opportunity, right? I think second, it like alignment with the president. President Allen and I have a really good relationship. We hit it off from the first time we met and talked on the phone throughout the process. And, I can't pass over that because I think, like that relationship, who your supervisor boss is super important, right? Is super important.
Definitely.
Having a great relationship with the leader of the organization is super important. So, and then like LaSalle is a really compelling story, right? If you want to talk about outcomes, we have some amazing outcomes, right? Like with job placement and salary levels and all sorts of stuff. We're moving up in the U.S. News and World Report rankings. Like there's a positive spin here, and I felt like my background could lend to some success for LaSalle, right? This arena project was well into motion, and they needed someone to steward it past and get it across the finish line. And that's what we're doing right now, right? And so that was really exciting for me. So presidential alignment, an amazing project, a transformational project, and then just the people, like everyone I met was excited about being here and wanted to be here and wanted to be a part of the solution and talked about very openly about the challenges that we face and the headwinds. But all that does is create opportunity, right? That's it. It gives us an opportunity to be entrepreneurial, to be nimble, to approach things differently than this place has maybe in the past.
For sure.
So it was just exciting. That's why LaSalle. Like I said, I did all simple things, but when all of them align, it's really cool and it feels good. And that, like when you're looking for an opportunity or you're investigating an opportunity, it just feels right. That's really exciting when it all comes together.
Definitely. I love that. As with me being a recent graduate, what I mean? Looking back, I often think like, dang, like I'm glad I chose LaSalle. I mean? I'm not gonna lie, because it's a small community of people, I feel like everybody, I mean? You see everybody in class, you see everybody in the quad, I mean? It's very tight knit, I feel like, I mean? I feel like that's the way to be, I mean? Having a tight knit community, having a family atmosphere, that always goes so far, I mean? So I love to hear that from you. I mean?
Yeah, and I'll say, Tori, too, like you just kind of reminded me of a key reason I glossed over, right? Like walking around this campus and hearing different languages spoken,
yes,
seeing all the diversity of thought of people. I grew up in an incredibly diverse household, right? I have,
for sure.
My dad's from India, my mom's from Missouri, so I come from a mixed family. I've got 3 other siblings.
For sure.
It just like I've got gay siblings. I was surrounded by diversity. I so
Definitely.
appreciate that upbringing. And when I walked on this campus and I saw the student body sort of reflect that it was very abundantly clear that this was a great place for me, for my family. So I just didn't want to gloss it. You nailed it right there.
Definitely. Just to go over that point again one more time. I came on campus in 2019, and then at that point, COVID happened. So we all had to go back home. Came back my junior year, fall semester, and that was like the first time everyone was on campus. So I was like, wow, I'd never seen this many people outside. You know what I mean? Everybody's talking to each other. And I'm like, wow, like it was like completely new to me. You know what I mean? So I was like, wow, I'm glad I'm here for my last 2 years. You know what I mean? Looking back now, I'm glad I graduated from LaSalle. So you know what I mean? So with that, how do you, I know that LaSalle's been, through couple different things so far. What are your main goals so far for LaSalle University? And I know how do you plan to achieve them if that, if you thought about that at any point,
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to we need to modernize our facilities. Number one, I think that's crucial and starts with this arena, getting the arena project done and finished.
For sure.
And then we focus on other outcomes, right? We want to make sure every student athlete that steps on this campus and student at large has a transformative, great experience, right? So we want to graduate complete student athletes and complete students. Everything also is about culture. Like we need to maximize our culture of compliance, collaboration, and just like be a good team, right? Like that matters. We need to win. Obviously, winning is a part of this. and
For sure.
creating a financial roadmap here to make sure that athletics, does its piece in supporting the overall health of the university. So, how do you do it? It's a lot of shaking hands, kissing babies, getting out there, talking to people,
Definitely.
telling, sharing the plan and the vision, right? Talking about the facility enhancements that are needed, talking about the great student athletes that we have here, and the outcomes that we have here, talking about our culture, talking about our financial needs, all of it, and ultimately, like we have really great coaches and staff around us. We really do, and when you couple a great team with a great culture, you can win, and that's important. And some programs are building up to that, right? They may not be winning necessarily today, but they're building up to that. Other programs are poised to win now. So I think it's just working with the head coaches on wherever they are currently in the evolution of their program and making sure they have the resources to continue to grow. That's the end of the day, what we need to supply our coaches and student athletes. So um,
Definitely.
it's it's a lot of work, but it's fun. It's really fun. Like I could be doing
For
a lot of
sure.
things in life. Um, and I am just thrilled and fortunate enough to be in this job. And again, I get to spend time with student athletes. It's so much fun to be around youth. The
Definitely.
excitement of life and all that. It really is. It's energizing.
For sure. I love that. Right now we're in the midst of like a lot of big programs around our area. I mean, we got the LaSalle, I mean, we got the Villanovas of the world, we got the Temples of the world, Penn State, St. Joe's, etc. You know what I mean? And I remember, some students, some of my friends would be like, dang, like we're just not up there with Temple. We're not up there with St. Joe's, Villanova, etc. You know what I mean? So how can we kind of, compete with them? Not in terms of not like physically, like not like sports, whatever. How can we compete with them in terms of like getting looked at by like different, fans, more fans to LaSalle, more students or anything like that? How can we kind of bring that into LaSalle, you know what I mean, and compete against these big programs like Temple, Villanova, Penn State, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it starts with resources and investment. So we have to make intentional decisions on our end that we are going to prioritize athletics so that it supports the university mission brand, and is a great tool for us to as a university to gain recognition, not only locally but nationwide, right? So um, yeah, I think it's as simple as that, right? And like this facility project we're working on speaks to that. That
For
investment
sure.
in getting this arena done speaks to that. And I think that's the multiplier effect. We get this done first. We have a roadmap to look at, other facility enhancements, whether it's locker rooms, whether it's a phase two of the arena project, whether it's competitive services, competition services. Like we've got a roadmap for all those things, and I think we just need to tell that story. When people come here and actually spend time on campus, it's a great
Definitely.
experience, right?
Definitely.
Could we be better? Absolutely. We can be better. We can deliver a higher level of service across the board. We can give a better experience. But it's really nice. It's a beautiful campus if you're walking from, Trumark all the way down to South Campus and Treetops, right? It's a wonderful
Definitely.
walk. It's a nice area. You sort of forget when you're in the center of campus that you're even in a city. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's nice. So yeah, I think that's we just got to tell that story. We gotta improve the experience for everybody here, student athletes and students alike, and then tell our story. That's it. And ultimately, you know, we we do have a compelling case. We are a very prestigious and successful university, and it's only a matter of time before that's reflected across the board.
For sure. I love that. I feel like, right now in terms of, it's 2023, you know what I mean? And a lot of student athletes, go through a lot of things, you know what I mean? In terms of mental health is big right now, you know what I mean? And, so how can you kind of, bring awareness to that, you know what I mean? And kind of like be there for, LaSalle student athletes or et cetera, you know what I mean? What's your way of kind of like tackling mental health or anything like that in terms of, making sure that the app, because I was talking to athletes, before, I have athletes are friends, they wake up at 6 in the morning, you know what I mean, go straight to class afterwards, shower, whatever, and then you gotta, eat lunch after the class, and then go practice. You know what I mean? That takes a toll. If that was me, that would take a toll on me. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? And sometimes you're probably not getting that much playing time, anything like that. Sometimes you're a long way from home. You're an international student. You're a long way from home. So in terms of that, like, how do you think you could tackle that in terms of mentally with these student athletes and like to kind of like be there for them? You know what I mean? Because I know like I know they be going through a lot. You know what I mean?
Well, I think to touch on your point, not necessarily about mental health, but it's improving the student athlete experience, right? Like
For sure.
our improved locker rooms, right? So the student athlete, knowing they're crunched for time, they can make it from the field or court or pool, get changed in a proper locker room, get a shower, get ready, and then head to class, right? So they don't have to go back to their dorms to get cleaned up, or their house or whatever before they go to class. I think that's important, right? It's about efficiency and making things easy, right? So we've got to do a better job of that. But as far as mental health, look, there's no sugarcoating it. We've got to remove the stigma. People need to feel like there's the ability to have a conversation. We need to also work with each other to identify if someone is not themselves or not doing well or has some challenges, and how can we help them, right? So we have we have a psychologist that is part of our staff.
For sure.
We also invest in speakers and technology so people can share how they're feeling, and we can engage in anonymous conversations. There's also the counseling center online. All that to say, those are like what we need to do. I think
Yeah.
beyond that, it's about building relationships, right? In creating a culture so that people do feel supported. People do feel like they can talk and share what they're going through, right? Like we need to have an open, non-judgmental, supportive culture across the board. But mental health is incredibly complicated because there are times, having experienced some of this in my family, right? There are times that there is no explanation for it. There wasn't an event that led to it.
Yeah.
And so it's tricky. So it's not always easy to spot. It's not always easy to understand how that person is suffering. But at the end of the day, we have to be there for each other. We have to be able to identify issues. We have to be able to be proactive as much as we possibly can. And that comes through experience. That comes through education. That comes through trainings. That comes through having licensed professionals on staff. And again, it's like one of the most important things is relationships with each other, and across the board. That's all.
For sure. I love that. In terms of like, let's say the winning culture of Salle University, there's a lot of great sports. They're doing a lot of great things. I know cross country, they recently, I think they won their, Atlantic 10 championships, a year ago, I think. But like, let's be honest, the most popular sport on campus is basketball. You know what I mean? That's where the most, money is being revenued and all that. That's why everybody goes to the games and all that. And we haven't been that good. I know I love LaSalle, but I'm gonna be honest, you know what I mean? So how can we kind of create a winning culture? I know you said, the new arena is coming. I feel like that's gonna be added motivation for, I guess, anybody, throughout that, facility or anything like that. In terms of from you, how do you think we could create, and not in terms of like just basketball, you know what I mean? How can we create a winning culture throughout the whole university? Because, sometimes, you go to games. I know I observed this as a student. Sometimes there's not students at these games, you know what I mean? Sometimes, you know what I mean? Let's try to get some students out there and support our teams, you know what I mean? How can we kind of create a winning environment for everybody here on campus? How do you think you would approach that?
Look, I think you've got to be relentless about your pursuit of a specific type of culture, right? And the culture and standards we're trying to build in the athletic department of LaSalle is really built around team. So we have standards, right? We root for one another at all times. We over communicate. We are all proactive. We anticipate what's happening in front of us. We try to be our best selves every day, and we also try to have fun, right? So I think those are key standards that make ultimately the culture, right? And one mentor of mine would often say, two cliches about culture, if you don't mind. One is you got to be intentional about it because you're going to have one whether you like it or not, and so you be intentional about having a good one, right? And then ultimately, culture is a reflection of what you tolerate and what you celebrate. So
For sure.
I think those sort of cliches lead you to believe you got to have a good culture, you got to invest in it, you got to be intentional about it. And then as far as winning and all that stuff's a manifestation of the work you put in, right?
For sure.
My job and our jobs as administrators and staff is to put the coaches and student athletes in the best position to be successful. That means providing them a great experience, providing them the resources they need to put themselves in a position, right? Ultimately, then it's up to them to take the next step. But I'll tell you, coming into a basketball, both basketball, men's web basketball programs, having seasoned vets as coaches, right? Mountain on the women's side and Fran on the men's side. And Fran and his experience being, having million wins, it seems like at this point.
Definitely, right?
At 3 institutions down in Philly, having a deep knowledge of basketball. Like for an AD coming in as a first-time athletic director, to have a partner overseeing the men's basketball program who's a pro, who knows how to run a good, clean program, who knows how to coach and mentor young men. I mean, it is awesome. I couldn't script it a better situation for a candidate or a guy like me to walk into. That said, we need to win, right? Like winning is going to help. My hope is the student athletes see the work, the arena work we're putting in, gets to know the team. I mean, again, LaSalle, you mentioned it, it's a small community, right? About 2,500 undergrads. So, a large portion of our student body is are athletes. So my hope is that our peers here want to support their friends at the dorms, their classmates, and they come out and show out for us this year. As our last year in this sort of arena configuration. So we've got to build that equity with our fans. We got to give them a great experience when they do come, so they choose to come back. And that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to really invest in the fan experience, and try to make it an event.
For definitely
really enjoy coming to.
Definitely, I'd love to hear that. As a new alumni with myself, I would love to be on that campus anytime I could be on that campus. You know what I mean? I guess to lead us out of here, to lead us out of the LaSalle part, do you have any? I know it's kind of like you know what I mean? It's kind of not really. People don't like really to hear this question, whatever. Do you have any long-term goals for LaSalle University or for yourself in order to, in for your whole tenure here at LaSalle University? What are some long-term goals? What are some short-term goals that we should, I guess, expect from you? You know what I mean? What do you think you can have?
Yeah.
You have for the people out
I
there?
hate to keep repeating myself, but the short-term goals really are getting this arena project across the finish line, identifying, creating resources for our teams, right? And then longer term, it's making sure, like across the board, we have Division I level facilities from the sports science perspective and, weight training, athletic training room, to locker rooms, to fields, courts, pool, all of the above, right? And so, that's the plan. I think if we do that and we give our student athletes a great experience, we give our coaches the resources they need, we can win here. We will win here, right? And ultimately, that's the goal. That athletics should represent the prestige of the university, and it should be an extension of the brand and be a great connection point for alumni around the world.
Definitely, I love that. So this is our last segment of the show. I love to kind of bring pump up our audience and all that. I want them to get to know Ash, right? Dang, did I say it right? Shoot.
Ash, that's all right though.
Ash, okay, Ash. I want them to get to know you. You know what I mean? What you're about. So first question, it's gonna be little, few questions. So, what sport would you want to do, or what sport did you want to play in the past? And then when you were younger, what was that sport for you?
I love basketball. I was not good enough to play in high school or anything, but I do love basketball. I play a lot as an adult until I got a little calf injury, and so I'm shutting it down from now on. And now I just run every day. But I always wanted to be more of a formal basketball player. I did play lacrosse and soccer growing up through high school, but basketball was always a little elusive to me. I was never that tall, never quick enough, not a good enough shooter until I got older as an adult. but even still, like, I love playing basketball.
Definitely, I love that. What's a superpower you would want and why?
I'd want to fly. You
For
could
sure.
you could go anywhere, right? I know that's the easiest, one of the easiest answers, but think about that. That's why I think birds are and ducks and all those things are cool.
Yeah,
Like they could do land, they could do the air, water. If the one thing missing from humans, we can't fly. So
I know,
um,
right?
that would be cool.
For sure. I guess top three movies. Are you a movie guy?
I am a movie guy.
Yeah, top three.
Gosh, this Shawshank Redemption. I
Okay,
love Shawshank. Literally one of the can't I cannot change the channel if that movie's on.
for
I have
sure.
fallen in love with the movie Casino. Um, De Niro and Pesci, like just amazing actors, and I
Oh,
love
for
the
sure.
storylines and all that. And I'm a huge Star Wars, the series and all the ancillary series and every series which way. And I'm going to go beyond top three because not
Definitely,
only
for
Star
sure. Let's
Wars,
do it.
I love the Indiana Jones, the Jason
Oh
Bournes,
yeah,
you
definitely.
name it. Like these the Equalizer, even more modern. You know the um, I love action movies. Absolutely love them, love them, love them. And lately, it's not a movie, but I've gotten super into Ted Lasso.
Oh really? I gotta tune into that. I heard a lot of people
Oh,
talking
it's
about that right now.
phenomenal, phenomenal.
Really? Jeez. Okay, I'm gonna tune into that. Um, are you a music guy as well? What's an artist you can't live without? What's an artist?
Yeah, it's crazy. I have one of the most eclectic music fandoms. Right, I love Outkast, love Outkast.
Oh yeah,
I love Queen. I love The Doors.
for
Um,
sure.
like I'm kind of all over when it comes to music.
Hmm.
I grew up and one of my cousins introduced me to Wu Tang Clan. Like she gave me a Method Man CD and then the Wu Tang Clan CD, and like I love that stuff too. So I'm all over the place with music.
Definitely.
But it's so great. I listen to ESPN and sports radio on
Hmm.
occasion, but I also will zone out and just listen to music. And
Yeah,
I recently went to iTunes and downloaded some old albums that I had on CD. Tori, you
for
might not
sure.
even know what a CD is, right? Just
Not that.
joking.
What? Are you kidding me? I was born in 2000. I definitely know what a CD,
No,
VCR,
so
all
like
that. For
and I
sure.
was like, God, I have a CD player in my car, but let me do this right. Let me get the digital, downloaded version off iTunes. So I bought some CDs,
Definitely.
and I was like, oh man, I can't believe I have not listened to these albums. Like Outkast is one of them, and even Van Morrison, his music in particular, I just love. So anyway, I'm all over the place when it comes to music.
For sure. I love that. Definitely. A few more. A few more. Um, what's your favorite food? I know you got to be a foodie guy. You know what I mean? What's your favorite food right now, or in general?
Yeah, so New Orleans is my favorite food city. I love
Okay.
the gumbo. I love jambalaya. And going to New Orleans and going to like a random bar, and getting some like home cooked jambalaya or gumbo or like some of my favorite things to do. I've eaten both of those dishes at some dive bars in New Orleans and also some of the higher end restaurants there.
For
And
sure.
I absolutely love those two dishes. You know, but as far as favorite foods go, I mean, pizza, cheesesteaks, like I love the Philly area sort of
Oh, for
Italian,
sure.
pizza place cuisine. I love it.
You kidding
Absolutely.
me? Definitely. Okay. So, what's your favorite? What's the favorite best cheesesteak spot around in Philly now? That's the
I
last one.
I go low. Well, I live on the main line, so it's not going to be any of these fancy downtown
For
Philly.
sure.
It's it's the local pizza place. I won't name them because they're not a corporate partner of ours.
Okay. For
Um,
sure.
but
Definitely.
but they're on the main line. It's a nice little place by my house. It's cool. They deliver. And the cheesesteaks are like 9 feet long and have like hunks of meat in them. It's fantastic.
For sure. Love that. Well, man, that just about does it for our first episode. I want to give you a round of applause. Man, appreciate you being on the show. I know you're a busy guy. So I know when we decided to have you on, I know we had to kind of aim for this time, you know what I mean? So I appreciate you for being on, man. Any closing remarks? Any closing remarks to get us out of here? What's that last word?
No, I'll tell you, Tori. We've got a lot of work to do in front of us, but it's an exciting time to be an explorer. And I hope everybody, that's listening to this podcast, the fans, student athletes, our staff, alumni, I hope everyone feels pride in who we are. I'm really excited to get this arena project across the finish line. and continue to enhance our facilities and our experiences, for our students and student athletes. So giddy up.
Definitely. I love that. Oh, wait, what's that? What is that? I know you say that a lot. What's that? Where does that come from? Giddy up. I know. Where does that come from?
All right, the story behind giddy up. So
For sure.
a number of years ago, I was asked. I won this like award, and I was asked to hashtag. You were asked to like hashtag your life. How would you describe your life? And I kept on pushing. Um, and I kept on thinking, like, what's the best way to describe that? And I kept on coming back to giddy up. So once and I'd said that prior to quite a bit, but I think it's solidified when I use that as the hashtag of my life, and then it just became a thing. And it means a lot, right? Like, it means like, let's go together. It means let's pick up the pace. Let's get things done. But it's really a unifying statement for me, right? Let's do this together. Let's go.
Definitely.
It's just a creative way of saying that.
I love that. What? Yeah, I'm gonna start using that. You kidding me? For sure. Appreciate that.
Well, giddy up.
Right? For sure. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll be on the lookout for more episodes as we are just getting started. This is something new coming with Salle University, something new for the fans, something new for the students to kind of get to know, the person outside of that sport, get to know, the person that's playing soccer, get to know them a little bit, you know what I mean? So, hope you enjoyed, and go Explorers, man, for sure. Definitely.